Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Expendable Show. I'm your host, The Expendable. So, big news coming out of this weekend with Iran bombing Israel. So, we're going to have a big, long conversation about that and what led up to that, and why it's relevant, and what is Joe Biden trying to do with it. Which is always the $1 million question. What is Joe Biden going to do? Generally, nothing. So that's our breaking news. It's a big deal. It's a big escalation. So what happened was Iran shot off around 300 missiles that were drones towards Israel. They went over Iraq, which is why I entitled it "Bombs Over Baghdad," which is also an Outkast song, which is one of my favorite Outkast songs. So I thought it was cool to be able to use that. However, they shot the missiles off. They were pretty. I think they said 99% of them were taken out of the sky, which is good. I mean, we don't want casualties. I don't want to see cities getting blown up. I don't even want to see Gaza getting blown up. I just think there's a lot of innocent lives that are at stake in that area right now. I just don't think more is the answer. So if you're like me, the first thing you're thinking when you hear this kind of news is, oh my gosh, yeah, look at all 300 missiles in the sky. What would John Kerry and Greta Thunberg be thinking with all of the carbon emissions going on right now? Oh wait, nobody said anything about carbon emissions. Nobody cared about that. Okay, so I guess we're not caring about carbon emissions right now. We're just caring about Israel, and we don't want to hurt Iran's feelings and stuff like that, even though the world's going to end at any second because of climate change. Yeah. Anyway, so we got bombs flying over America. Everybody, pew, 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 everybody shooting them down. I think Jordan even helped, is what the report that I saw is, that Jordan was there helping blow up missiles. The United States Navy, we were blowing stuff up. I think I heard our Air Force was up in the sky blowing things up too. So that's a good thing. It sounded like the intelligence was there. Everybody knew this was coming. Everybody was prepared, and it was a successful mission. So I'm going to give Joe Biden props on that. That he worked with, all the powers that be in that region to get the job done, to make sure innocent lives were not lost. So, I can't hate on him for that. It's a success. One of the successful things that I think that he's done in his presidency so far. And you might be thinking, like, well, how do things get to this point? Like, why is it such a boiling point in the Middle East? Why is Israel such a big? Why does anybody care? It's just a tiny little country on the map. Yeah, it's on the Mediterranean and all that, but what's the deal? So this war that's been going on, Hamas kind of has inserted themselves in it, but the war between like the Palestinians and the Israelis has been going on for a very, very long time. Like, it's biblical. It goes back to the book of Genesis. So, and you might hear on the news, people are talking about the Abraham Accords, that Trump, worked out this peace treaty to keep things, kind of, at bay over in that region when he was president. It was one of the greatest peace treaties ever made, in my opinion. But it was called the Abraham Accords because of Abraham. In the book of Genesis, Abraham was a biblical figure, direct descendant of Adam. So when we look at the book of Genesis, so Abraham had a wife, and Abraham was kind of running the show in that region. And Abraham's wife could not bear children. So Abraham and his wife had a conversation, and they said, hey, I can't give you a male heir. I'm sorry, but I give you permission to find someone who can. And so they remained married, but he was allowed to fornicate with someone else to hopefully get him an heir. In the meantime, his wife is praying every night to God, like, please allow me to bear a child. So these things, this was going on. Well, the woman that he chose, she was that from that like Palestinian era of people. So she got pregnant and had a son, and the son's name was Ishmael. Ishmael was a good kid, all that, and he was supposed to be the heir of Abraham's kingdom. So while that happened, well, Abraham's wife, the miracle of God hit, and she got pregnant. She had a son, Isaac. So here you have Ishmael and Isaac, okay, two sons. Both of them, as they get older, they both claim to be the heir of the throne. So Abraham doesn't know what to do because he's promised Ishmael that, hey, you were basically made so I can pass all this down to you. But then Isaac shows up, and well, he's the mayor, by hierarchy, he has a claim. So what happened was Abraham didn't know what to do, so he prayed on it. And God came back and said, I choose Isaac. So Abraham came down and said, look, here's the deal. Isaac is going to get the Holy Land. He's going to get the promised land, which was Israel, and Gaza was included in that. But Ishmael didn't go away empty-handed. God said, give Ishmael Babylon, which is modern day Iraq. So hypothetically, Ishmael got a better deal because he got Iraq. Iraq was much, much bigger than the Holy Land. But they didn't see it that way. The Holy Land is the Holy Land. And when you look at, the Quran and you look at the Bible, both refer to that area as the Holy Land. So, and this is how, Islam and Christianity kind of, or I guess Judaism, became enemies. From that day on, they've been warring. So over the Holy Land that Ishmael believes that he has claim. And I believe, if I know the story, now don't kill me, but I believe Muhammad is who came and said, no, actually the Holy Land belongs to Ishmael and the descendants of Ishmael, because Muhammad was supposed to be the messenger of God, of Allah. So, but don't quote me on that because I'm a little rusty on my Quran that I have, studied for a little bit. But I'm pretty sure that's how it happened, and so this war has gone on ever since. Don't get it twisted. This is not a political thing for the Palestinians. This is not a political thing for Hamas. This is not a political thing for Hezbollah. And any other group funded by Iran over there, that this is a holy war to them. They want to eradicate the Jews out of their land that was promised to them in biblical times. This is not a political move. There is nothing in Israel that is really worth anything other than the port. This is God's chosen ground, and they feel they have a claim to that. So this has just built up over and over and over and over. Even the book of Revelations makes a statement that I believe that if Israel is at peace, if the Holy Land is at peace for a third time, that starts a chain of events that leads to rapture. And I would have to go back and reread the book of Revelations, but I'm pretty sure that's how that goes. It starts a chain of events. So when the Abraham Accords came, everybody was freaking out because that would have been, we're on the third one, which it kind of makes sense as everything is going on right now, that maybe, Trump might have done something prophetic. So let's fast forward from biblical times to now. So Iran is claiming that they're retaliating for a bombing that Israel did in Syria, that it was a bombing of the Iranian consulate. They were trying to kill one of the big shots in in the Iranian military. He was kind of like a special forces general or something like that. He was he was a general, Mohammed Zahidi, and they killed him. And so that this airstrike, this bombing, all the missiles they shot off was supposed to be a retaliation to the killing last week of Mohammed Zahidi. So now Iran has issued a statement to the United Nations, says, "Hey, we're done. We got our get backs." Even though I think this is, you shot off 300 missiles, but nothing really did anything. So what was the point? Like, it's just saber rattling, I think. Like, you didn't really do anything. And same thing when we killed Soleimani, Iran went and blew up a building that we weren't even using. So Iran's just kind of, they don't make sense. They're like the empty promises people. It's like they call us up and say, "Hey, we got to do something. We should probably, hey, what is there? Do you guys have a location that we can blow up that will make our people think that we did something really good, but it's not really going to hurt nothing?" Like, I feel like that's Iran. Like, they talk a lot. They act like they're doing something, but really they ain't about that life. They're not really standing on their business or nothing like that. I don't take Iran seriously. And I know you get guys like Kirby and Blinken and them on TV going, "Iran's a real problem." I don't think Iran's a real problem. I think they're just a distraction. They don't have the guts. They don't have the glory. They don't have the ammunition. They don't have the artillery. They don't have the personnel. They don't have the heart to really put up a fight with anybody other than other tiny countries in the Middle East. They know that if the United States of America wants to lay the smackdown, we'll end them as a species. So. So we had this happen. Iran had they shot off the missiles. Let's get our get backs. Didn't do anything. They feel good. Their people are out parading in the streets because they shot off 300 missiles. 300 wastes the money. Israel knocked out 99% of them with the help of all their allies in the region, which was fantastic. They made the statement, said, "Hey, we're done. But Israel's like, no. We're not done. Like, you're not just going to shoot 300 missiles at us and then walk away. That's like, it's like being out on the playground. You punch somebody and then you just walk away and go, "Yeah, hey, I win." Now the fight's still going on, and everybody in the world knows it. And as of right now, Sunday, the 14th of April, Israel's still trying to discuss what their response to this is going to be. I would expect them to be ruthless. Just as they have been with Hamas. They've been very ruthless. So my question now is, where's Joe Biden? Where is our president? What's his stance? Because we know beforehand that Joe Biden, when it comes to anything in the Middle East, especially with this whole Hamas deal and the Palestinians, he is like, beforehand, he was, "We're going to stand with our allies, Israel. It's ironclad. Iran, don't. And then so you get like, don't what? Like, don't pee on a electric fence? Don't what? So I'm not really just like, don't what? So Biden's got all these things. He's trying to talk tough. He's probably, I feel bad because and this is off my script, but I've been thinking about this all day. If Whitey Bulger was still alive, he would get on TV most likely and go, "Joe, you are the weakest Irish mobster ever. Like, you and Hunter are a complete failure. Like, just get out of here." And but luckily, Whitey Bulger's not alive anymore, or at least he's not in America anymore. He's probably on the island with like Elvis and Tupac somewhere, and probably Michael Jackson. But anyway, we'll go back. Where's Joe Biden? He's going to flip-flop. I already know. So, he was pro-Israel. Well, then Dearborn, Michigan, where all the Muslims are at in America, where the majority of them, they started protesting. It was starting to cause an issue with his campaign. He was losing Gen Z voters. And so he flip-flopped on him and said, because they're out in the streets calling him Genocide Joe. Genocide Joe's got to go. it's been a disaster for him. It's been a bad deal, and they're going into the Capitol protesting. They're cornering congressmen and senators. It's a big disaster, and Biden's not doing well with it. So you have this going on. So Joe Biden's kind of gone away from, hey, we're still back in Israel, but let's work on a ceasefire. Netanyahu ain't trying to hear nothing about no ceasefire. He's going, nobody respects you, Joe Biden. You stay over there. We're going to do what we do. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know a couple guys that are Mossad. They are not to be messed with. Those guys, they are bred to murder people. So this is what they do. And I'll guarantee you they are in that country murdering people. And that's why they're one of the best special forces in the world. Those people are machines, complete machines. So this is a bad position for Biden to be in, because now he has to pick a side, and he's at some point, now that Iran has escalated things, now Biden, he's already declared, hey, whatever the retaliation is, we're not in on it. Cowardly to do. He keeps saying it's ironclad. It's ironclad. Our dedication to Israel is ironclad. We'll stand beside our greatest ally. Don't do it. But as we can see, 300 missiles isn't enough. How many missiles does Iran need to shoot before Biden says, yeah, okay, we should probably do something? I feel like a nuke would have to happen before Biden goes, okay, we're going to stand with our allies. It's too late, bro. Too late. It's too late. You already screwed it up. You guys did a fantastic job in knocking all the missiles down, and then you screwed it up completely right after that. What did Obama say? Don't underestimate Joe Biden's ability to fuck things up. He has proven time and time again that he is very good at fucking shit up. So we need to really pay attention to what is going to happen, because if Israel retaliates, Iran has already said if Israel retaliates, we will fire back again. So I'm waiting to see how this chess game all plays out. Obviously, our military is going to be completely useless here. Well, I don't want to say the military is useless, but our military leaders are going to be completely useless in this. They're going to let this conflict go on and go on and go on. And then we have Congress, who there's all these Israeli fund bills sitting on everybody's desk that everybody's been playing negotiation tactics with, because everybody wants to give the Ukraine money. But now our greatest ally, who should take precedence over everyone else, is getting bombed. And yet we still have legislation sitting in the Senate that Chuck Schumer does not want to address, because it's a standalone Israeli defense bill. Let's get this thing voted in. And then I see Kirby's on TV and Blinken, and everybody's on TV going, yeah, well, and Biden even said, well, you could put this bipartisan bill on my desk, I'll sign it. It's not the bipartisan bill, Joe. The bipartisan bill's not going to pass because you guys want to funnel money to the Ukraine. Pass the standalone bill that's Israeli funded only. It will pass easily. All you got to do is sign it when the Senate presents it. But for some reason, Chuck Schumer wants to use it as a negotiation tool. And now it's a wild card for him, because he's going to sit there and go, well, how bad do you really want to help Israel? Well, you're going to have to give Ukraine some money now if you really want to help Israel that bad. Do you want to come across and look like you're some Israel haters? Better sign the Ukraine bill. That's what's going to happen. And I've already said, Johnson's already said this is probably what's going to happen. And so now we shouldn't be negotiating. The bill's already there. Sign it. This is a day away from getting the aid to Israel. Not interested in giving any more money to the Ukraine. We've given them enough. Done. I'm done with it. So that's where we're at with legislation. Biden's already given his response. I'm not going to really do much. We're going to stand back. Iran's just not. They're not as tough as what our government is making them out to be. I call their bluff. I think they're a bunch of chumps. I think they're pretenders. They're the guy out on the playground that thinks they're big, but they ain't really all that big. So we've got there's a lot of issues with that. I just don't buy that whole ordeal with Iran. I think we need to put our foot down with them. Tired of playing with them. We check them once, they'll go away. When Biden got into office, he got rid of a bunch of legislation, got rid of a bunch of the sanctions on Iran. They're going to come out and they're going to tell you that Trump screwed it all up, but it ain't. Trump had strict sanctions on Iran, and Biden lifted them. So that enabled Iran to start selling oil again. It enabled Iran to start acquiring arms again, which has led up to this point. Now they're funding Hezbollah. Now they're funding Hamas. Now they're funding anybody else who wants to fire anything at a Jew. My next question, where's the worthless United Nations? I go through this in my book in depth. Where is the United Nations? What is wrong with the United Nations? Are they a band of cowards? Because that's what I feel like they are. I cover this in my next book coming out. I covered it in my previous book, From the Mouth. I'm not a United Nations fan. I am not a European fan. I think that if they don't band together, they're nothing. And even banded together, they've proven in all these conflicts that are going on that they are a nothing. They do nothing but take our money. They do nothing but steal taxpayer money to fund their enterprises. And then they say, oh, yeah, by the way, use your military. You guys get involved in the conflict. Hey, give the Ukraine, $120 billion. We're not doing it. Oh, but hey, we got to fund the World Health Organization. We're going to need you to give us another $20 billion for that. So it's a money funneling system. And I'm tired of paying for Europe. And Europe does nothing. Israel is supposed to be the apex of what the United Nations is made for. They're getting attacked on all angles by adversaries, and the United Nations is doing nothing. They just took Iran's little, hey man, we're done. Okay. No, they should be getting sanctioned. Shut Iran down. Why are we not shutting Iran down? Why is the United Nations not coming out with a big, bold statement that's with a long list of sanctions? Why is this not happening? Because the United Nations are cowards. Everybody involved in the United Nations is cowards. We should not be involved in the United Nations because they've softened up our way of doing things. America is supposed to be the biggest, baddest mofos on the block. We should be able to point our finger over at Iran and go, hey, knock it off. We're going to come over there. We're going to smack you in the mouth. And you ain't going to like it. But no, that's not what happens. Europe softened us up with all this DEI bullshit. And now we're afraid to do anything. Afraid. We're afraid. We don't want to get into conflict with Russia. We're afraid. We don't want to get into conflict with Iran. We're afraid. We don't want to get into conflict with China. We're afraid. We don't want to get into conflict with Sri Lanka. We're afraid. We're America. We're not afraid of nobody. What is your problem, Joe Biden? What is your problem? I just don't understand. What I think has happened is since the House has shut down Ukraine funding and they have made it very clear that they will not pass legislation with Ukraine funding in it, I think what has happened is because Iran, for some reason, before they shot off the missiles, they pretty much announced hey, we're going to do something, be ready. So everybody was ready. So what I think, Biden tried to create a win for himself on several fronts. He knew he had everybody over in that region ready to shoot rockets down. Everybody was ready. Israel was ready. I think the government manifested a crisis. They said, hey, Iran, go ahead. You want to shoot these rockets off? Go ahead. Do your thing. he manifested it so he could clean up the crisis. And also mandate funds to get approved through Congress, because Congress has Ukraine money locked up. This ain't about, they could give two shits about Israel money. This is about getting money to the Ukraine. Manifest a crisis that involves what people do care about to fund the conflict that nobody cares about anymore. And the more guys like Adam Kinzinger get on X and beg for money for Ukraine, like, how much money is it going to take? Is Russia ever going to go away? Should we bankrupt American taxpayers so Ukraine can continue to defend themselves? I'm not even sold on it. Nobody's even putting Ukraine footage on the news anymore. Is that conflict even going on anymore? Or did Putin say, I'm out? Did Russia even put a foot down in the Ukraine? That's my next question. Why are we funding this? I don't agree with it. I don't agree with funds. I don't agree with funds going to foreign aid. I do agree with it going to Israel. They're being attacked on several fronts. I don't agree with it going to tyrannical governments like the Ukraine that has a history of corruption. Zelensky has proven himself to be a tyrant to his own people. I don't agree with the money going there either. The guy's an actor. It's what he got brought up into, acting. And he's acting well. I don't want this dude touching American soil anymore. He's got a big mansion down in Miami that's bought and paid for by American taxpayers. I ain't doing it. I'm done with him. So everybody keep an eye on this week about what's going to go on over there in Iran. This could get real ugly real fast. This could get real serious. Iran's funding everybody over there, but China's got their hands in things too. So it'll be interesting to see if China ducks their head out. Everybody be safe out there. God bless the Israelis in the Jewish communities here. Everybody stay safe out there. Watch your surroundings. And I will catch you all on Wednesday. Peace.